Hey everyone, RemanX here, and boy is it hot today, so pardon the sweat. But we're going to talk a little bit about something that kind of hit home recently, and I just kind of want to just talk about kind of like why I put a little bit of a pause on the ISO list, but I'm going to go really hard into it now that we have Blue ISO-5 in the game, Blue ISO-4, and its determining value based on Crucible. All of these things have led me to kind of put a pause on my ISO recommendations because I want to lock in the ones that I think are a lock at Blue ISO4. So we're going to start with Wong. So let's talk about this. The only characters that you probably want to do Blue ISO4 on are going to be characters that are specifically the Horseman teams. Darkhold, Gamma in the team, Unlimited X-Men, and the yet to be announced fourth Horseman team for War, or for Death. So all of these things are again, these are the only ones that I feel confident that are locked in because of their overall power. We're going to talk about Wong as a striker. Now, the striker is because he removes positive effects anytime he does his attack. So he can remove between 2 and 4 positive effects, depending on how you use it. If you use his basic, he can remove up to 4 positive effects unless they have trauma. And so he is locked in. The fact that it's going to add to the bonus damage from his reciprocal damage here is a big deal. Even though it's not going to add an extra attack. This is not a primary attack. It's just adding some base damage. Very similar to how we did with the Coal Obsidian. Very, very, very powerful ability. So that one is a lock. Safe to Blue ISO-4. We're going to talk about Doctor Strange Heartless. Now, Doctor Strange Heartless is interesting because this whole team gets bonus crit and crit damage, right? So they can really just become absolutely nightmares when it comes to that. However, some of their damage is going to be percent based on health. More importantly, as far as like crit, some of the abilities are just not designed to have that extra bonuses. And so he's the only character that really gets that maximum bonus. If you've ever seen him crit for 2 million plus against you, you know exactly what that does. So he's safe, and I think probably easily safe at Raider. And remember, there's going to be some concerns. People are like, well, you know, the Darkhold's putting up a lot of deflects to prevent him from critting. Well, the reality of it is when he does his ult, he's already stripped all of those deflects on the team, and they're going into that against an unobstructed team. And you have the choice when to hit that button as well, if you're using them on offense. On defense, same scenario. Especially when you add in Dormammu, who could be flipping those deflects into bleeds. So just be aware of that. Okay, so that's a safe one in my opinion. This one is probably one that I am 100% locked in on. We've been talking a lot about this on the stream. And one of the things about this is kind of hidden in this mountain of text is one of the most important lines inside of this kit. And this helps Unlimited X-Men become a sustained monster and prevent them from easily being whittled down. And so the idea behind this is on crit, apply evade to self and all Unlimited X-Men allies. And then while this character has evade doubling down, gain 25% crit chance and 20% critical damage. So his base at 40% with Raider, Blue ISO. You'll see I took him to Blue ISO-4. 40% bonus. So he's got, you know, and again, he's hitting multiple targets as well on all of his attacks. You're looking at a bonus of 65%. So he's almost likely going to be doing that and empowering himself and his team with evades. It's a big deal. Do not miss out on that bonus. It helps them become a monster in Crucible, a monster in War, and whatever mode you decide to use them on. So, no doubts there. We're going to talk about one that I'm kind of on the fence on, and we're going to talk about just from the perspective of what she could do. She might need more focus. I think she's going to get a bunch of bonus focus because, you know, how important is that stun going to be on her? And so this is one thing where I loved her as a striker on Fantastic Four. I'm probably going to take it off. She's not on the recommendation yet. We need to see who the War Horseman empowers on his kit, what he actually does for the team, the whole turn order, and that'll give us an effective set of choices for this character. She probably will be a striker, but at the same point in time, you don't want to Blue ISO-4 that team until they show up. I think you're better off Blue ISOing 4 on other teams. So you're gonna be like, oh, Rem, you Blue ISO-4 on MILF, and she's a skirmisher, and I regret it. Knowing how scarce Blue 4 is, there are scenarios where I want to make her into a striker, and it might be because now I've got her at 7 red star. She's a striker. But I didn't know she was going to get a 7 red star this early in her existence. And that's the problem. So many of these ISO choices are locked behind your star level and red star level. And that's the problem that ISO lists don't help you with, and why I've been kind of just against them and have turned, my associates into toilet paper, just jokingly aside. Hopefully they all understand everybody's on there, including my own choices. The idea is it's so dependent on your roster, your characters, that there isn't a one-size-fits-all ISO recommendation anymore. Until we lock in these characters that are good in every category, that just are locked in all the way up through their existence, like Gambit. So if Gambit's low stars, he's getting that benefit from the crit, keeping himself alive, putting the evades in a team. So it doesn't matter what star level these guys have, they're definitely performing their function, from the crit percentages for marking targets and all of the things that go with it. Even at 3 star, 3 red, Heartless can build up an amazing amount of damage percentages from buffs and debuffs on targets that he's just still a force to be reckoned with. And the same thing with Wong, putting the debuffs. And ironically, that's it. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be evaluating kind of where these teams kind of build up to. We're going to make recommendations based on star and star level very, very soon. And we're going to be adding more characters to the list, maybe like Agatha, Scarlet Witch, etc., as we get more confidence when we talk to the team. And you guys, more importantly, you guys, when we're figuring out what works for you when it comes down to the teams. Because again, I have Blue ISO4 on quite a few characters, and I'm feeling the pains of regret to the point where I'm absolutely concerned about, what I can do, with the Blue ISO4 changes. How that'll impact me as I rise through the ranks of Crucible is probably an unknown factor. Now, again, I am trying to push above, 2,000 and stay above that for the Crucible. And I'm encountering G17 and Blue ISO4. And that'll help me as I'm encountering these higher numbers to hopefully help you understand that as you're punching up into these categories, as people are gaining that, I think more of these ISO choices will solidify to help that come into focus. So, for instance, if you're fighting a G17 Blue ISO4 Darkhold, how are you going to do that? What would your team look like, and what recommendations do I have on that? So stay tuned, because we're starting to see these trickle in to the in-game player economy, into the matchups that we have. And again, that'll also help firm up those choices. And again, you probably already felt that when we were talking about somebody like Cha-Cha, Star-Lord T'Challa, that very, very, very relevant choices based on how he shifted to a striker for maximum damage output, but was a skirmisher to make sure that blind landed, so he grabbed the energy. And that is something that we have to make sure we honor. Because if you're putting Blue ISO4 on that, it's 415 of the tier 4 Blue ISO4 credits to swap. So don't take Blue ISO recommendations lightly. Blue ISO3 is a safe place to stop for most characters. I know we want to see those numbers grow on our roster for Blue ISO4, but I'm hoping you guys don't make the same mistakes I do, because you know what? That's my line, and a good cue for it. I do things so you don't have to. Love you much. Be kind to each other. See you soon.